Streaming live via the internet. Welcome to ISP Radio, your weekly source for ISP-related news, events, and interviews with industry experts. If you deliver internet via fiber optic, wireless, coax, or any other way, you're in the right place. Chat live with us weekly via ispradio.com every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time. And now a brief word from our sponsors. Link Technologies, providing ISP consulting, support, and hardware for wireless ISPs. Tower Coverage. Streaming live via the internet. Welcome to ISP Radio, your weekly source for ISP-related news, events, and interviews with industry experts.
Welcome to another edition of ISP Radio. I'm your host, Steve Grabiel, and I'm broadcasting from my offices here in Moriarty, New Mexico, the middle of nowhere in the country. And I've got my co-host and producer of the show, Dennis Burgess in St. Louis, producing the show. Dennis, you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Glad to be back. Weather's been pretty hot for this time of year out here in New Mexico. Not a lot of rain. What's it like out in your neck of the woods?
I'll tell you what, we just had a cold front move through, and, other than it being obviously a little cooler, it's absolutely beautiful outside. We have highs in the upper 60s, low 70s, low humidity. Matter of fact, our office has big old huge fan running in one of the doors, and we're bringing all the air through. Definitely making sure everything gets aired out whenever it gets this nice. It's real nice to do that and to enjoy the fresh air. So real nice weather so far. We had a little rain
some money
yesterday.
On your reefer unit.
What was that?
Save some money on your reefer unit.
Well, yeah, it's typically not too terribly bad, especially, well, let me phrase this. I don't even know how bad it's going to be because we're in our new building, so I don't even have a clue what our electric bill is going to be yet. So, important things, right?
Yeah.
You have to figure out what's going on to do, and hopefully here shortly we'll find out. But, yeah, I mean, it's always nice to be able to have the fresh air come in. The weather's been cooperating. We've had a couple little storms, things like that, but nothing out of the ordinary, nothing significant anyway. How's that?
Yeah. So, Dennis, any news out there? I just want to mention that we were approved by WISPA to broadcast the State of the Union address at the show, which is really cool. And it'll be broadcast live on our ISP radio, and we'll be making announcements on that. Anything else on that, Dennis?
No, not yet. I mean, the goal is to broadcast that so everybody can watch it. And normally, WISPA does this. I mean, WISPA takes a GoToMeeting account, they kind of mix in the audio, send all that data over to whoever wishes to use it. It's definitely not a problem. Definitely not a major deal, but this time we're going to live stream it on the YouTube application on the ISP Radio channel. We already have all the hardware to do it, so why not make it basically free for WISPA to do? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. No, that was pretty cool. So, any other news on the front? It's been, to me, sounds like it's been pretty quiet.
Well, it has been pretty quiet. The only thing that I can toss out there is a little software update. That kind of came out yesterday, today. Pretty lax. There's not a whole lot of information, but one of the industry's a person that's been in our industry for a while, Simon, has recently started another company, and there's actually a wonderful little application, a new WISP-centric billing system that they're going to be releasing at WISPA Palooza, it looks like. It's called Sonar, and Simon Westlake, I believe he, if I remember correctly, he came from the billing systems originally, and now he has this new one. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of information, lots of conjecture and things like that going on, but you never know until they actually release it and we actually see it. And I'm sure all that's going to actually happen at WISPA Palooza, because that's usually what happens. However, I did talk to Simon already, and he is going to be on the show next week to talk about what Sonar is. So if you're interested in finding out what this new platform is, guess what? Tune in next week.
Excellent. No, I saw that email myself, and I'm all, good. Simon's back in the game.
Yeah. I mean, it's always good to find out, to take those people that's been in the industry for a long time, and now all of a sudden, they got a new project, and those are really, really great to see that people keep coming back to the industry.
Right. Well, we're fortunate today to have Daniel White. He's no stranger to the show. He was on our show a while back with Titan Wireless, and when he was working for SAF. And Daniel, you there?
I am. Good morning.
Morning. And the reason we got Daniel on the show today is to talk about being on the board, and to tell us where he's at now and what products and services he offers currently. So, Daniel, with that, we know that you used to work for SAF and did a fine job there. You really helped me out. I drove up to Denver one evening and you helped me out dramatically. That was great. I appreciate that. I don't think anyone else has probably ever done that, but you stepped up and above and beyond to help me out, which I really appreciate. But anyways, tell us where you're at now and what's going on.
Yeah, so I left SAF Technica about, well, I guess it would have been July 1st was my last day at SAF Technica. There's a lot of really positive changes happening at SAF Technica, and there's a bunch of new management in North America, so it just kind of seemed like a good time to maybe spread my wings and try something else out in the industry. So I was fortunate enough to really kind of join a great up and coming distributor in North America. Their name is Crossover Distribution. They have locations in Toronto and in New Jersey, and they've primarily been a Canadian-centric distributor since 2008, and have really been growing into the U.S. market. And I'm here to help them kind of take it to the next level. So it's really exciting. I've been fortunate throughout my career in the WISP space to work for a wireless ISP, to be a tower climber, to be on the integration side for a couple years, to be on the manufacturing side. So distribution was kind of the last step for me, the last thing I hadn't tried, and I'm really excited to get to do it now.
Well, good.
Yeah, a lot of fun. And then, of course, during that same time period, I got elected to the board of WISPA. So to the WISPA members out there, I thank you for your votes, and I'm really excited to be on the board as well now.
Excellent. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the products you now distribute?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Crossover really focuses on being a value-added distributor. That phrase, or that value-add phrase, gets thrown around quite a bit, but we really try to be an engineering centric distribution company. And so what we do is, while we sell a lot of different things, we really try to narrow down to specific vendors and in different categories. And really try to focus on maybe 4 or 5 vendors per category. We're active in basically 3 different categories. The first would be the wireless broadband portfolio. Those are the products that you're deploying day in and day out on your roof. We distribute Cambium, Ceragon, SAF, Technica, LegoWave, among many other vendors. Those seem to be probably our top 4 vendors. And then we also do kind of the passive components on the towers. And our customers range all the way from the tier 1 cellular providers all the way to the wireless ISP market. And that's base station antennas, waveguide, coaxial cables, UPSs. We have a few different vendors there: Alpha Wireless, RFS, Alpha Technologies, just to name a few. There's certainly probably some depth there in our line card, because not everyone does everything there. And then on to we also do, and probably one of the bigger parts of our portfolio is DAS, which stands for Distributed Antenna Systems. We mostly are doing public safety and in-building cellular. And there we have everything from the in-home repeaters, which could be a great value add for a wireless ISP to sell, to the stadium level systems. And some of those vendors are Smooth Talker, SureCall, then moving up to companies like ZenWave and CommScope for some of the bigger systems, or CSI. So it's new and it's exciting to get to sell solutions. Again, I can basically pick out different vendors from everything to give you a total solution for your network, which is really exciting.
So the distribution was the last chain of your resume, huh? You've been everything from a tower climber to a tower monkey to running a network to being a manufacturer's rep.
Yeah, I somehow missed distribution along the way. A lot of people that kind of do that chain of events tend to do distribution after the integration step, the VAR step.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fortunate enough that Bridgewave came to me back in 2010 and asked me to join their ranks. And I somehow skipped distribution. So it's exciting to get to see another facet of the industry, learn a different business model and interact with the industry in a different way, which is fun.
Well, let's shift gears into why we have you on the show this week. Why did you choose to run for the board of WISPA?
Sure. Yeah, I've been pretty involved in the organizations surrounding the wireless ISP industry ever since I got into the space. I was active on the Part 15 list. I've always been active with the Animal Farm group, and active with WISPA. Since basically the beginning, very early on, and throughout the positions I've had throughout my career, I've gained a lot. I've learned a lot, and I've really enjoyed being part of the organizations. And the first big reason why now was I finally felt like I had the time to give the commitment to the organization and to the board, and really to give back to the membership. That was something I really wanted to do, because everybody here is not just coworkers or people in a similar industry, but are friends, and I really wanted to give back for everything I've gotten out of it. So that was probably my biggest driver for why I joined the board. Was a really just a sense of duty to give back to the industry.
And when you decided to do this, did your employer, were they happy about it?
They were. That was one of the things that kind of pushed me to the next step was back when the nominations were going on, I was still employed with SAF Technica then. And Jonas Bergs, who's the president of SAF North America, he actually helped persuade me to that now was the right time, both professionally and personally. I ended up not staying at SAF after that, but I was very blunt about that when I joined Crossover, that I was running for the board at that time, and it was also encouraged by Crossover as well. The duty of giving back and participating in the community was encouraged by both companies. So I was very happy to have my employer behind me in that sense.
Yeah, that's always helpful. Hey, Dennis, you got any questions?
Well, yeah, I mean, as you came into the WISPA board, obviously it's a great time, and we're really great. We love having you. It is a big time commitment, and a lot of people don't really realize some of the time commitments that are required. I mean, people go, oh, well, you meet, every once in a while, and yada, yada, yada. But, I mean, an example here is that, coming up, it was WISPA Palooza. And if you figure, the current number of board members times the average number of days that these people are going to be there, okay, times, they're going to be on the floor, typically roaming around and taking care of what's needed. And you look at most of these things, these people are going to be working for this trade show to make it as the best trade show we've ever had, as every year previous was. And you figure that. I mean, you figure it's a 10-hour day, so that's 630 or over 600 man hours. And that doesn't include the man hours that we also have staff, people working in the registration booth, all those types of people. So it really takes a lot of time just for the one show just for the one show. Now you toss out everything else. Yes, we meet monthly. Yes, we do this. Yes, we do that. But it does take time. And then there's always the chatter on mailing lists and things like that we're always involved with. So again, I am very glad that you joined WISPA and was elected to the board. Obviously, we get to work with each other for a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess going forward, though, you wanted to join WISPA as a board, and you want to give back to the community. So, what are the things that you see, let's say, in the past few years, that WISPA has done right? And then, is there anything that you think maybe WISPA could use a little work on?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the exciting things about WISPA as an organization is the growth. It started off in many ways like some of the other organizations that have been in our space. A group of industry vets getting together and saying, we need to do something. The FCC is controlling our destiny. We don't have a presence. They don't know who we are. How do we get in front of them and make them change policy in DC to better serve the ISP community? And I have to give a lot of credit to the founding board members and all the board members that have served since. They've done an amazing job of growing the organization, and that is something that is remarkable, and I hope to continue that. I hope to find new vendors, new members. It's just shocking how many people there are still out there that run wireless ISPs that don't know about WISPA. I hope to help that.
Yeah.
But help be an evangelist and help the organization grow. But one of the exciting things, and probably the most exciting thing, is that the original intention of WISPA was to be a lobbying organization, and that they've delivered. If you look at the history of WISPA when it started to now, the organization's increasingly become more effective in front of the FCC. WISPA is now cited in FCC rulings, orders, comments. You see WISPA come up. You have commissioners giving information to the public, making press releases where WISPA or its members are specifically mentioned. It's an exciting time. The organization's really come into its own. We now have a professional lobbyist on staff, multiple lawyers helping us out. It's really accomplished what it set out to do. And that is probably the most remarkable thing, because other people have tried and they failed. And it's great to see that WISPA as a community has come together and built something great. So,
I just want to go back on that, because you had mentioned that it amazes you how many people that are WISPs that have no idea that they have a trade organization that's looking out for their best interest in the FCC, lobbyists, Congress, etc. I recently just did a training here in St. Louis, and we literally had this happen. I had two guys, great guys. They've been WISPs for years and years and years. And I go, well, you're going to go to the WISPA Palooza this upcoming month, in October. No, we don't get out too much. And it just blows me away that there are people out there that still don't join WISPA, don't go to their industry event, and it was actually quite comical, because we sat there and we talked about various items, and one of the things, it was a microtech training class that I was teaching, and we were talking about changing to NV2 and a couple other technical things, and while they're sitting there rebooting their gear up on towers back at their office and back on their network, because they want it to work better. And I'm like, well, if you think that you've gotten that much out of if you think you got that much out of this one training class, just think of what you can get by talking to tons of industry peers, tons of people at WISPA Palooza, and actually going and seeing all these vendors and seeing all the products that are available. And they kind of agreed and shook their head, but are they going to go? Who knows? But it's just amazing to me, and just like you said, it's amazing to think that they have a trade organization that they don't even belong to, and they don't even understand what all things that we have been doing for them. It kind of stinks, but it's just an interesting factoid.
Yeah, the way I look at it is some of it has to do with, I think, the makeup of the average wireless ISP. These are the great thing about WISPs and the WISP community. Certainly you see professional business guys that started a wireless ISP because they saw an opportunity to make money, to grow a company. But you hear the average wireless ISP story. It's typically a guy that needed internet at his house. There wasn't good options. So he just put his head down and figure out a way to do it. There's a lot of owners of wireless ISPs are engineers first. They're the guys that actually get things done, and that's what I find is great about this community. But at sometimes, the problem is that your head's down so much just trying to grow your network, make it better, everything else, that you don't look up and see the greater world around you. And the tremendous resources that are out there. I think that's the most powerful thing about the community that you get at WISPA Palooza or on the mailing list is you find that you can learn from other people's mistakes, you can learn from other people's successes, and really that's how you grow your business. It really is a community. It's not a couple big organizations just competing against each other. So. It works against us, but that's why I think Veronica is going to be very successful. Is somebody dedicated out there, growing the membership and really trying to reach these people and let them know what's going on. I know she's had some great success so far, and I think she'll continue to have success.
Oh yeah. And I know the show, again, WISPA Palooza, for anybody who's listening, we got quite a few people on. WISPA Palooza is coming up here in October, and if you have not signed up, you need to go and sign up. Simple as that. WISPA.org. You can get all the information. October 10th through the 17th. It's over in Las Vegas, so the flights are cheap. I know I can still get flights from St. Louis relatively inexpensively as well. I don't know if we have rooms still left. I think it's an iffy. I know that we added some, but then I know we sold them out. But if they are rooms left, make sure you get one. Make sure you register right on the site, etc. Absolutely fabulous show coming up, and we're actually going to do the broadcast for the State of the Union, as well as I think sometime after that we're going to do a little WISPA Palooza. If you can't make it, though, if you can't, first off, you should try. But if you can't, just keep this in mind: is that a lot of what you learn at WISPA Palooza is not done in a classroom setting. It is done in the hallway or at dinner or going between sessions. A lot of that is there, that camaraderie with your fellow WISP. And we have a really great industry. I mean, the WISP industry is not like other industries where they're trying to play cutthroat out of every person and undercut everybody else, etc. It's not like that. So definitely make sure you go. You have to get all that. If you don't, we will have a WISPA recap. I had to look up the show schedule here. I'll tell you, on the 21st, WISPA, October 21st, that particular ISP radio show, we will have a WISPA Palooza recap just to talk about the new products, things like that. Plus, hopefully we're going to get a whole bunch of people that are new vendors that we haven't talked to before, and we're going to hopefully get them on the show for everybody so that you guys can learn what they're trying to sell and what they have to offer, just like Daniel does.
That's pretty much my job there at WISPalooza, is going to the vendors and soliciting them to be on the show. That's what I did last year, and we got quite a few people that participated, which I'm really grateful for. So if you're a vendor out there listening to the show, be leery. I'll be running around looking for people to talk to on our show. That's a big part of this show, just telling people about your products.
Yeah. And so, go ahead.
So Daniel, you told us about what we've done, what WISPA's done well in the past. What do you see in the future you'd like to see done? Tell us about when you become a board member, you automatically get put on some committees and stuff. Talk to us about where you would like to see, or what would make WISPA better, and what are you participating on as a board member?
Sure. I think the two committees that I'm on right now, kind of go to what I hope to do long term with the organization. Besides, as Dennis mentioned earlier, there's a lot of the daily chatter, the daily administrative stuff, that the board works on for the organization. The two committees I'm on is I'm on the agenda committee is just as a member. I actually joined the agenda committee prior to getting on the board, but the agenda committee sets kind of the schedule for the trade shows, WISPA America and WISPA Palooza. And then we also act as a liaison with the organization when we find moderators and speakers to really try to make this show a great success. And the great thing about my experience in this industry is, unlike a lot of WISP operators that maybe you only have the opportunity to go to maybe 2 shows a year or something. I unfortunately, I go to a lot of trade shows every year. I haven't counted, but I think this year I'll be somewhere around 15 or 16 trade shows this year. Jeez. And it gives you a lot of perspective. It allows you to see kind of what the other guys are doing, the other organizations that are out there, and some are much bigger than WISPA, some are smaller. But it's kind of nice to see what they get to do, and I hope to bring in some of the things I see in those other organizations to WISPA.
Wow,
the WISPA shows.
WISPA's spy.
Yeah. I'm fortunate that I get to do that, and our director of operations, Trina Coffey, is always at some of these shows as well. It's amazing where I run into her out there. She's doing the same thing, and so that's kind of a great thing that I get to do, and a place I'm participating for sure. But I think if you're to look at my application to WISPA, to the board, asking for the nomination, really what I hope to focus on more is improving the vendor relations with the organization. While the object of WISPA is to promote the service providers, it's kind of a symbiotic relationship between the manufacturers, the resellers, and the service providers themselves, because none of us can exist without each other. It really is an ecosystem that provides experience, equipment, expertise, and then deploys these networks to the end users. We all work together for the same common goal. And really what I thought has been lacking sometimes in the past is engagement with the vendors. Realizing where some manufacturers can lend their engineering expertise to filings with the FCC and really help deliver the message moving forward. And also sometimes the decisions made by the organization sometimes don't represent the vendor membership or maybe what's in their best interest. So I hope to add that perspective to the board. I'm definitely not the only vendor member on the board. Dennis and Brian both are as well. I guess what kind of makes my experience a little different is that I've been on the manufacturing integration side as well. So I have a few different perspectives with a few different companies I can draw from. And so I'm also the chair now of the vendor relations committee, and really my goal is to try to make sure that the vendor membership is represented, but more importantly that we're used to help further the mission of WISPA. Because realistically, if it's harder for a principal member or that's our wireless ISPs to do business, if you guys aren't successful, we're not successful. So it's just as much in our best interest to make sure that the wireless ISPs are successful as it is that we're successful. So we have a lot of expertise and experience and professional engineers that can help lend to these filings. And I think a great success to that thread would be the 5 gigahertz stuff that was done over the course of the last year. There was some great engagement by the board to get Cambium and Ubiquity, Fastback. I'm sure there's plenty of other vendors that I'm missing here that participated in calls and that and help drive what the message ought to be. What's technically possible on the equipment, and what's in the best interest of the wireless ISPs. And I think that's really what I hope to continue to do and grow with the organization, is leveraging the expertise of the manufacturers.
What would you say would be success of this new committee? Because it is a new committee. We talked to Alex about it, and I think it's a tremendous idea, and I'm glad that you're on it because you bring the skill sets you bring. But from where we're at currently, what would you say would be success of this committee in a year or two? Can you even put the Ouija board out there and figure out and tell us what you see?
The end of the day, the objective of the committee and is really pretty straightforward. It's just to improve the mission of the wire, of what WISPA is doing to serve the ISPs and in turn the vendor members. So, really for me, it would be to see the vendor membership involved in every FCC filing, and their expertise leveraged. Certainly, seeing maybe the vendor membership come together and work towards common goals is really important to me as well. In some ways it is a bit of a Ouija board. Alex and Blair, who's on the principal membership committee there, we're going to definitely have some powwows in Las Vegas at WISPAPalooza behind the scenes there to really kind of drive the goals and the objectives. So in some ways it's a little early to tell what will be the overall measurement of success, but the overall goal is very well known. That's just greater involvement by both communities to in what our primary mission is to lobby the FCC.
Mm-hmm. Dennis, any questions?
No. I think Daniel summed it up pretty good. Overall, lots of things going on. We got the lobbyists, we have the FCC committees, and of course, everybody is welcome to participate in those that are online, or that are members anyway. So make sure you check that out. It's very important that everybody puts in their information, and if you can't put in your information, if you're not out there putting your 2 cents in per se, you know what I'm saying, then all you have is what you have is the people that are representing you and their information. So if you think someone's missing something, then it's your job to hop in there and help out, because that's how we are going to get the FCC and things like that to change. So overall, though, there's lots of great stuff that WISPA is doing, and we will just continue to push forward. Getting these, the trade shows are definitely really good, and then of course all of the lobbyist effort, absolutely phenomenal. And we're looking forward to seeing what Daniel will do, if anything, with the vendor members, to try to get vendor members to participate a little bit more in the WISPA organization as well. And there's plenty of them that participate quite a bit, and some of them that you don't really hear from too much. So that's always going to be a challenge, because everybody has to, as he said, it is a synergy between the WISPs and the WISPA vendor members to keep everything going. So,
right, and I like what you said there, Daniel. Leveraging their expertise to help direct opinions, if you will, in DC. That's tremendous. I mean, that's what WISPA's been doing, I believe, pretty well with its WISP members, but getting more involvement. Like Dennis says, we've already got tremendous involvement from quite a few people, but getting more sides to the puzzle to participate. I think that would be truly a mark of success.
Yeah, absolutely. It's in some ways, it's some vendors. It's a matter of making them realize that synergy is there. And in others, it's just a matter of marshaling resources. It's can you do this specific thing for us? Oftentimes you paint with a very broad stroke and say participate. It's hard, right?
Hmm.
But if you can say we have this very specific filing, you make equipment that's in TV white space or something. The FCC wants us to do this. Is that technically feasible? Can you give us more information about what's possible? That's something that even I, as a vendor in distribution, I can, you know, say, okay, I think that's possible, but there's a great resource of engineers at the manufacturers, where it's a very simple thing to ask them. Can you do this?
Hmm.
Is this a reasonable modification, or do we need to petition in another way? And they add credibility as well to the filings, where you see many organizations come together and petition the FCC for one thing. Just adds credibility, So those are all things I hope to accomplish. We'll definitely see what happens.
You had mentioned that you go to like a bunch of other trade shows other than WISPA.
Yeah.
From your standpoint, are these other trade associations fighting the same battle or similar battles, and do they have the capabilities to do what WISPA's been able to do?
Oftentimes they're parties to the same issues. They're not always on the same side as us, though.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, I was at CTIA a couple weeks ago. CTIA is an organization that lobbies the FCC on behalf of the cellular carriers primarily, and we know oftentimes they're at odds regarding spectrum policy with us. They have their own objectives to use our spectrum, like 5 gigahertz and LTEU. A lot of them are trying to figure out ways to now take advantage of the unlicensed spectrum. That is, where we do business. That's our bread and butter, and raising the interference levels or the noise levels when they have licensed spectrum doesn't help us. So oftentimes they're at odds, but sometimes they work with us. And there's definitely some reach out that can be done with these organizations. For instance, one of the trade shows I've been going to the last couple of years is NATE, which is the National Association of Tower Erectors. And they're definitely, I can't think of anything they've been at odds with WISPA on. They're an organization that represents the guys that are building the towers, that are maintaining them for the cellular carriers, and they're a very safety focused organization. And I think in some ways that there's potential partnerships there. They have a lot of safety initiatives regarding tower climbers that wireless ISPs could definitely take advantage of. So there's a lot of really good shows out there, and I think that would be a good message in general. Obviously, WISPA Palooza and WISPA America, I think, are the best bang for the WISP market, because you're really getting the vendors that are focused here. But if you kind of look out in the greater world, there's definitely other trade organizations that touch on ours. With similar goals, are representing different groups on the same filings with the FCC.
Right. So, Dennis, I've asked all the questions I want. Dana, you got anything further you want to say? You're going to be at WISPalooza, of course.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. We'll be in booth 106, which is next to booth 105, which is where WISPA will be at. So definitely come by and say hi. Veronica will be manning the the WISPA booth, and I'll be right next to her at the crossover booth. So I definitely look forward to speaking to everybody there. If it's about joining the organization or more about what we do, feel free to stop by or just to chat in general. I always love speaking to operators. I think the last thing I would touch on, about WISPA Palooza itself, Dennis is absolutely right. It's not too late to sign up. It's not too late to come. The deal, the pricing on the website is still amazing compared to other trade shows, especially the value you get with the conversations you have in the hall, the sessions, meeting the vendors, but just even the food that's provided by the show. The overall environment is amazing. I'd also encourage you, I did speak to Trina, who once again is Director of Operations for WISPA. The room block is definitely still up. You can still buy a room through WISPA. It helps support the organization, and the rate is better than what you just get by going to the Rio's website. So definitely sign up on that link, and I really hope to see everybody there. Yeah, it's just an exciting time. I think that's all I could say, Steve, is just it's an exciting time right now for me personally and professionally. I love seeing what the industry is doing. And I think there's a really bright future for all of us, especially in 2016. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, would you like to put out your contact information for folks that may not know where you've moved to, if they want to get in contact with you about your new working for this new distributor?
Yeah, absolutely. So, there's certainly a lot of different ways you can get hold of me, Twitter, LinkedIn, but, if you're looking to get hold of me, once again, this Crossover Distribution is the company I work for. So, our website's just crossoverdistribution.com. You can always feel free to call my cell number at 303-746-3590. And you can, as far as email goes, you can hit me at two places, either wispadw@gmail.com, or you can hit me at my work email at dwight@crossoverdistribution.com. And please feel free to reach out. Any questions, concerns, ideas about WISPA as an organization, questions about joining or anything else. I'm definitely very passionate about the organization and happy to help. And then if I can professionally help you as far as equipment for your networks, design services, cellular repeaters, things like that, definitely happy to help. That's what I'm here for.
Right.
So.
Well, I personally appreciate you for running for the board. We've elected the right guy for the right place at the right time. Dennis, you got anything else to say?
No, I think we are really, really good for this episode. I think we covered a lot of great information. Remember next week that we will have Simon from this new company that has a new billing platform. We're going to be talking about that. We have the live show from WISPA Palooza, and then we have a WISPA Palooza recap, all coming up here in the next few weeks. And then, of course, I'm sure we're going to have tons of new vendors and tons of new great things to share with everybody once we get back from, of course, WISPA Palooza.
Right. So, vendors, be aware. I'm going to be running around the place looking to get you on the show.
There you
all
go.
Right, Dennis,
there you go.
I want to thank Daniel for being on the show. Thank you again. Dennis, thanks for producing the show. And you guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you all next week. Have a good one.
Same to you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to ISP Radio. We hope you've gained new insights and additional wisdom in our industry as well as your business. Please remember to visit our show sponsors via the links on ispradio.com. If you're interested in becoming a show sponsor, contact us at sales@ispradio.com. Now go out there and push those packets as fast as you can. Good luck and Godspeed.